But what will you do to stop people falling into homelessness?
I think that there are so many reasons people have been, have fallen into homelessness. Some include domestic situations at home with spouses. I run a project that supports very vulnerable Londoners, and we give food. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday, I have a number of those who we support. In excess of 100 plus people of that cohort. Some of them are homeless. And I remember a story of a young man who came over, and he looked at me and he said, at the end of the shift, he said, "Can I talk to you?" And I said, "Sure." He was from Poland. And he told me his story. He told me of the trauma that he had between himself and his partner, and how, as a result of circumstances, he had ended up on the street. I won't go into detail because I want to protect his identity. But the difficult nature of what put him on the street, he used to have a home, he used to be in the construction industry, but what happened was he lost all that in a moment of great difficulty and started sleeping off on the benches, moving from bus to bus, and just trying every night to find a place to sleep. Now, when you have people on that vulnerable space, we have to have an early intervention program that allows us to first have people come in and tell us this, let Londoners know that I alluded to a triage system once when we were speaking, and that triage system allows us to quickly intervene before they get on the streets.
So we say help save the homes.
Essentially, save the homes, or let's provide an alternative entry for those who are going to be made homeless, whether they're men or women or children. So even when their family circumstances change, they know that there is an option that we have created. And I've worked with several homeless agencies, including Shelter. At the moment, what we have in our organization is when anybody comes and identifies as being homeless, we get in touch with Shelter, and hopefully Shelter is able to provide them access to a place. What is rather unfortunate as it stands is people are sometimes being made to identify which bench they'll be sleeping on for the next 3 days in the park, so that whenever one of the volunteers or the workers are available, homeless intervention workers are available, within those 3 days, they will go and identify them on that bench. We can't wait for 3 nights to be identifying a person who's homeless. I would expect an immediate intervention within the 24-hour window. Nobody should be allowed to stay on our streets overnight if we can help it. Those are the kind of interventions I want to see happen. I don't want to be saying, what bench are you going to be sleeping on for the next 3 days?
I went to do actually it was a Pride concert in Hong Kong a couple of years ago, and we were coming back late at night, and because of the jet lag we couldn't sleep, so a few of the dancers and I went out and we were just walking the streets of Hong Kong and just sightseeing at night, and we walked past a McDonald's, and so one of the guys said, I'm going to go in and get a drink, it's open. And we went inside and there were all these people asleep in the McDonald's.
Right.
And I was thinking, what is going on? Like, why would they let people like just come in like this? It's, it was quite unnerving, because you sort of think, who are these people just sort of hanging out here? And the guy explained, he said, oh, no, we allow the homeless to sleep here to keep warm at night.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I was like, what a brilliant idea. So if you'd like me on your team, because I have a few ideas, think of all the bed shops and furniture stores. I mean, I know it's a risk,
but guess what, we did that.
Why couldn't those places be open
Sunita,
overnight?
I did that in my church. We ran winter shelters, and in essence what I used to do was I'd spend the night in our premises with the homeless. We made beds available, we brought mattresses in, we made them dinner, and we made them breakfast, and we give them a place to wash up. And we share that with 7 churches in our community. So in essence, during the winter, they went from different church centers. So they would go to our church on a Monday, another church on a Wednesday. What we did, and I think that's what we failed to do. We failed to play up the role of the charity and faith sector that can be an effective and a robust response.
That's there for the community.
It's there for the community, and we've got to start empowering them.
Would it be legal to keep those places open overnight for people to shelter.
Well, they did. Well, it was legal for us to bring them into our church premises as long as we had volunteers there.
To supervise.
To supervise and support. And so
as a mayor, you'd be able to sort of...
Yeah, but I don't want that to be the permanent state of affairs. We want them away from that status where they're having to move from place to place. And we want to give them a sense of ownership and give them a sense of being able to get jobs and feel a sense of self-worth and pride about themselves and their future.
Yes, but short-term solutions.
Short-term solutions are good, but we want to start providing longer-term solutions, getting people involved in this whole conversation. And when we speak about young people, I want you to understand that we want to get more young people into the construction industry, into the solution provision industry, so that they're part of the answer to the crisis we have. They're helping build for the future.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot we can do together.
If you're building it and it's your home, that ownership, you know, the upkeep, the restoration, everything is all in.
Absolutely, and
in their hands.
Can I say that one of the things I've always believed in is, in order to provide the solutions, you've got to work with the people that are actually dealing with the challenges themselves. So i.e., I would want to have a panel of homeless people or who have been homeless who are part of the solution orientation program.
Love that.
And so in that case,
they know the struggles,
they know exactly what's about. It's not just a top-down approach. We need to have a top-down and a bottom-up approach that allows people to actively engage in providing wider solutions for all of London who are homeless, and looking at what the issues might be that triggers homelessness in the various expressions, because some are driven by drugs, some are driven by alcohol, some are driven by just trauma in their lives, some are veterans. Whatever the situation you may be coming from, we've got to try to provide a zero tolerance to homelessness.